Alright, so I got a Bixler update for you guys, and besides my new 50 amp ESC, which handles the load a lot better from the servos, check this out. I got the Bixler FPV mount, and I stuck my action camera to it, and my action camera weighs pretty close to the GoPro, so like any result I get shouldn't be too far off from the GoPro. And I stuck it on there I took a 7/64 drill bit, drew a pilot hole right through here, and then took a 17/64 and made the main hole for the camera mount screws and mount screw. And I'm pretty sure an 8/32 drill bit would work too, but I just drilled through there, stuck a Velcro pad on there for a little resistance so it doesn't wiggle around, and then I just put a lock nut on there, tightened it up, and we have our camera mount. And I talked to a few people on YouTube about how they balance out their CG. A few of them mentioned like they just took a few light things like heavy metal washers and taping them to the bottom of the horizontal stabilizer. At first I was thinking that, how are those light things gonna bounce out the weight? But then you figure, oh well, being the CG being the fulcrum, they're farther back on a lever arm, so they got more leverage than the hefty camera, which is closer. So physics bores me. But anyways, we'll see how well my AA and AAA battery, weight balances are gonna play out when I fly this thing either later today or tomorrow.
Not the bees, other mice.
Alright, so here's how the flight went. So before I flew around with the camera, I first did, a practice flight, because beforehand I had also messed with the control rates on my radio, so I upped my aileron and elevator rates, so I did some practice flying, even did some inverted and barrel rolls for the first time, and so that was pretty fun. Then came the moment I put the big hefty camera on, and once I launched, I noticed right away that, it was going to fly way, way different, especially since it took so much for it to take off. But I finally got it up in the air and got it flying around. I wasn't going to risk trying some inverted flying or anything like that yet until I got the hang of it. But, like, I noticed one thing when I was trying to make it climb. I noticed that the wings would start bowing a little too much, considering that this is the Bixler 2, which is supposed to have the carbon fiber spar running down the length of the wing. And you can see right here, I have the spar zip tied to the wing, so either the spar has quite a bit of flex in it or it's broken. So I'm not gonna take care of that tonight because it is really late, but I'm hoping it's not a broken spar, because as far as I've seen, Hobby King doesn't have any replacements. But anyways, coming near the end of the flight, I bring it in for a landing, and I try to cruise it the best I can, but even though I still gave it a little bit of throttle while I was coming in for the final approach, I didn't give it enough, and it sort of started nosing down quite a bit. I hit the elevator, but a little too much, so the first thing to hit was the tail, and unfortunately this happened. Good thing I got glue and enough of it to fix this whole plane if need be, so I'll fix that tomorrow, have it like new, then I'll be able to fly it again and see how well it performs. But yeah, just tomorrow I gotta fix that, find out what's up with the spar, and edit together all my footage. Alright, so I got the wing gluing back together. As you can see, I glued along the fault line going through here and on the underneath as well, and then I took a couple toothpicks, went at a slight angle, and drilled right through into the main tail segment, and then glued those over, pinched off the toothpick and then glued them. So hopefully that will help keep it from snapping off again. And I noticed when I first finished gluing that the part of the wing wanted to droop down a bit, so that's why I have it sitting up, propped up on this, so it'll glue back into itself properly. And I know it's like bending up now, but once I pick it up, it wants to droop a little bit. So, I just need to flex those back into their shape, and that'll be good to go. And I also checked into the spar on the inside. Thankfully it's not broken, but it just seems to want to flex now. It didn't want to flex when I first put it together, so maybe it's just wearing in. But yeah, I got those things down, and now the only thing I got to keep in mind is to find just the right setting to put this at, and be mindful what time of the day it was, because with it being sunset, it was dark, it was pretty dim on the ground and still bright up in the sky about 30 feet or so, so that was playing hell with the exposure. The exposure just kept going back and forth between darkness and light, so I just need to find out what to set it at, and also be mindful what time I fly. I might just do my flights midday instead, so I don't have to worry about all that. But yeah, so I got all that stuff out of the way. Just need to remember to take care of that, and be mindful of my landings with this thing on. Alright, Bash Monkey out.